So you gave us a little bit of or an awesome exercise to do when we are thinking about our ex.
Mhm.
I want to talk specifically to a step or two that you could give us if we're right in the freaking middle of it. Like it happened today or
Mhm.
it happened yesterday. Those that
Mhm.
are watching live, those that are
Mhm.
watching on the replay. Um, you know, what should we do to help us actually get over the
Mhm.
ex? What's a couple of things you could share with us?
First thing, if you are going through a breakup right now, you're in the thick of it, I want you to know that you're not alone. Almost every single human on this planet will go through a brutal breakup at some point in their life.
Yeah.
And also, you are very likely to break someone else's heart. And I always try to give both of those perspectives because when we're mired in our own pain, it's really easy to forget that not only are other people going through this too, but that it's very likely that there's somebody coming into my office or looking at for a self-help book because they're trying to get over you.
Mm.
And so it gives us some perspective that we're all human. Love is a natural human experience. It's a drive, it's a
Yeah.
need, it's a part of our DNA, really, at a very basic survival based level. So you're not alone. The next thing is, I would say, pause. Don't make any big decisions. Usually, when you're in the throes of a big life transition or a big breakup that's really painful, you want to do anything to feel better. People will make kind of haphazard choices just as a coping strategy. But usually, if we're not thinking really clearly beforehand about what we're doing and why, we'll engage in behaviors that don't help us very much. And they may make you regret them later down the line when you go, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that.
Mhm.
So, trying to pause, notice how you're feeling, don't do anything massive, and then put together a self-care plan. One of the first things on your self-care plan, if you're really serious about the breakup, is to try to reduce contact with your ex.
Mm.
And that's something that you shared about your breakup, that you didn't talk, you didn't have any contact with your ex, which when you think of it as an addictive cycle is incredibly important.
Yeah.
Because the more contact you have with your ex, the more you talk to them, the more you're texting them, the more you're looking for information about them online, you're still engaging in that part of your brain and body that is going to be going back for more,
Yeah.
right? So it keeps you in a non-relationship relationship. Finding a way to set boundaries where ideally you wouldn't have any contact with your ex for a while. If that's not possible, which is the case for some people, particularly if you have children together, then finding a way that you can engage but not stay as intimately connected. Generally, I recommend that people only communicate by email for a while and that they set very clear expectations about what they'll talk about and when. So, I should clarify for just a moment too. I think there's a lot of misunderstanding in the world about what a boundary is. Many people talk about boundaries as if you're giving an ultimatum to another person of how they have to act and how they need to treat you. But the reality is that we don't have control over other people and we
Yeah.
don't have control over how they're going to treat us. So, boundaries actually are not telling other people who to be or how to act. Boundaries are relationship expectations that you set based on who you are and
Mm.
how you want people to engage with you. And so when you think about setting a boundary with anyone, an ex, a parent, a friend, a child, I want you to start with what really matters to me about my relationships with people. What are my needs and goals? And how can I communicate those to someone else? So for example, in a breakup situation, You might say, "We just broke up. This is really hard for me. I love you, but I know that this relationship needs to end. And so it isn't in my best interest to communicate with you at this moment about how we feel about each other or how hard it is or my emotional state. If you bring those things up to me, I'm not going to respond. And
Mhm.
that's because this is my effort to try to help myself heal and move forward. And I
Absolutely.
hope that you do the same for me."
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, setting boundaries, cutting off contact, getting rid of their stuff in your physical space, sending it back to them, putting it in a box, giving it away, whatever it needs to be, so that you're not constantly reminded of them. You're not triggered by them everywhere you walk in this life that you used to had with them. Those
Mhm.
are my first tips for somebody who's just going through this, just starting.